Throughout 2023 and 2024, we have continued to emphasise China's need for active, coordinated policy to aid activity and confidence. Authorities have finally delivered. Indeed, they have exceeded expectations, and there are reports that further support is coming. The announced stimulus should easily see authorities achieve their 5% growth target for 2024 and see a similar outcome in 2025. However, downside risk will remain into the medium term. The announced initiatives of the past week broadly fall into two categories: fiscal and monetary support to reset the property market and reduce pressure on China's local governments, and monetary initiatives to aid sentiment and discretionary spending. Making clear their intent regarding the property sector, the Politburo last week pledged to make the market stop declining. This edict looks to apply to both house prices and residential construction, benefiting both wealth and employment. To reset the market, demand for housing will be encouraged through a reduction in the minimum deposit for property investors from 25% to 15%. State-owned firms will also be able to borrow from the PBOC, China's central bank, 100% of the principal required to purchase unsold homes. New and existing home buyers' capacity to enter the market and upgrade will meanwhile be improved by a 50 basis point reduction in mortgage interest rates to close to 3%, while the largest lenders being given additional excess capital and having their reserve requirement reduced should materially increase the availability of credit at favourable terms. To support sustainable house price growth, the priority for property developers will be the large pipeline of projects yet to be completed, which have largely already been sold. Prioritising these projects is important to build confidence in the trajectory of prices and thus household wealth, as well as trust in property developers. The focus on unfinished projects will require sustained financial aid for local governments, given proceeds from land sales for new projects will occur with a lag. This is why local governments are to be the prime beneficiaries of the mooted 2 trillion yuan in new special bond issuance by the Ministry of Finance. The equity market is also receiving substantial support, benefiting household wealth and promoting the use of market financing by mid and large-sized firms. Institutional investors will now be able to swap illiquid assets for high-quality assets at the PBOC and then use those securities as collateral for loans to fund the purchase of equities. Corporates are also to receive financial support for share buybacks and to increase cross-holdings in other companies. Merger and acquisition activity is to be encouraged, promoting price discovery and the strengthening of corporate finances. We've already seen a meaningful rally in equities following last week's announcements, and as capital flows in, the housing market is likely to follow suit. Consumers should become more willing to spend on discretionary purchases into year-end, and businesses to expand capacity in related sectors. 5% GDP growth, or very close to it, is readily achievable this year and next. The composition of the support packages will see risks to growth linger into the medium term, however. This is because the announced stimulus is only an offer of potential return if acted upon, not government-mandated spending and employment. The medium and long-term success of these policies therefore relies on state-linked and private entities taking up the opportunity to spend and invest and pursue growth. This is both an opportunity and a risk. Those that engage proactively with the economy and markets and find success will grow in confidence and capacity, broadening and sustaining the growth pulse. But there is obviously a risk many will eschew this chance, betting that if they hold back, the government will eventually do the spending for them. Our baseline expectation is therefore positive and hopeful, but we will remain on the lookout for downside risks. We'll see you next time.
The content of this recording is informational and of general nature only, and is not intended to constitute a research report or reflect any recommendation or financial advice. It has been prepared without taking into account your objectives, financial situation, or needs, and investment decisions should not be based on it. You should obtain your own independent advice before proceeding with any investment decision. Whilst every effort has been taken to ensure that the contents are correct and any opinions, forecasts, conclusions are reasonably held based on information at the date of recording, Westpac does not make any representation or warranty as to the accuracy or completeness of the statements or information contained in this recording, and any liability therefore is expressly disclaimed to the extent permitted by law. None of the material included in this recording should be copied, published, or reproduced in whole or in part without the prior written permission of Westpac.